Advocating for immigrant rights, policy, community, and social work action. Hello, everyone. Today I'll be discussing immigrants as a vulnerable and historical oppressed population. We'll explore how immigration impacts mental health, the structural challenges immigrants face, and the implications for social work advocacy. This topic is important because of its national relevance and because many of us will serve immigrant clients in our work. It's time to stand up for immigrant rights. Immigration in the U.S. faced many hardships, from cultural adaptation to systematic barriers that negatively affect their physical and mental health. In 2023, over 45 million immigrants lived in the U.S., with about 10 million being undocumented. Despite being essential to our economy and communities, immigrants often remain invisible or stigmatized. In this presentation, we'll examine how these realities intersect with health, policy, and social justice. Mental health and immigration. One major concern is mental health. Immigrants experience high levels of stress due to acculturation, discrimination, and separation from family. Allegra et al., a paper from 2017, found that first-generation immigrants often have better mental health than their U.S.-born children. But over time, exposure to U.S. system increases vulnerability. Children of immigrants face added pressure balancing two cultures, which contributes to anxiety, depression, and identity struggles. Social determinants of health. Social determinants of health, like access to housing, employment, education, and healthcare, are deeply affected by immigration status. This emphasized that being undocumented or lacking legal protection can prevent people from seeking care or reporting abuse. These structural barriers worsen chronic health conditions and mental health symptoms. In other words, immigration status itself becomes a health risk. Systematic oppression. Systematic oppression is built into many of our institutions. For instance, fear of ICE raids or deportation making immigrants hesitant to go to hospitals, schools, or even report crimes. Racism and phobia also play a role. Many policies are framed to exclude or punish immigrants. Most people argue that immigrant health can't be understood without talking about structural racism and intersectionality, which I totally agree. Policy and advocacy. Social workers have an ethical responsibility to advocate for just policies. Jensen, an article in 2018, encouraged us to become effective policy advocates. That means understanding the systems our clients navigate and using our voice to promote fairness. For example, supporting the DREAM Act or Pathways to Citizenships can help families feel safer and more stable. Hoover also reminds us that advocacy isn't optional. It's part of our duty to challenge unjust structures. Remember that, guys. Remind us that advocacy isn't optional. It's part of our duty to challenge unjust structures. And then the case study, an Arizona immigration law. So let's take a brief look at Arizona's SB 107 law. This allowed police to stop anyone suspected of being undocumented. Founded that in 2013 from Valdez, founded that immigrant mothers reported extreme anxiety, isolation, and fear of leaving their homes. This is a powerful example of how policy can increase trauma in vulnerable communities. Social workers must know how local and state policies directly impact immigration well-being. And then the role of the social worker. So how do we help? As social workers, first, we must practice cultural humility, listening to and valuing our client's experience. Second, we advocate for trauma-informed care and inclusive services. Third, we must also address systematic issues, not just individual needs. My apologies. For example, helping clients navigate healthcare is essential, but so is working to reform healthcare policies that exclude immigrants. And personal connection. I also wanted to share a personal connection. As someone who has experienced disparities in healthcare and understands what it's like not to be taken seriously by providers, I feel deeply connected to this topic. Immigration clients often face similar invalidation or invisible in systems that were not designed for them. That's why it's critical to see the full person and not just their immigration status, but their strengths, trauma, and culture identity. Yes, healthcare seriously needs some work and change. In closing, immigrants are a vulnerable yet resilient group who face systematic and cultural challenges that affect their health and well-being. As social workers, we must combine empathy with action, working both at the micro level with clients and at the macro level through policy advocacy. I hope today's presentation helps remind us all that social justice means creating a society where everyone, not just citizens, can thrive. The last slide is here are sources I used throughout the presentation that included journal articles, policy research, and books that provide a well-rounded understanding of immigrant experiences. I highly recommend looking into these resources to continue learning. Hope you guys enjoyed my presentation and have a good day.